Today on Inquirer, Philippine inflation rate slows down to 6.6% in April. President Bongbong Marcos says he does not feel alluded to in China's critique of Philippines' U.S. defense protocol. Experts foresee Metro Manila's COVID-19 positivity rate to rise to 25% according to Octa research. And airspace shut down due to maintenance activity on May 17 down to 2 hours. Good evening. Inflation in the Philippines eased to 6.6% in April, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. Sofia Abrogar has the report.
The Philippine Statistics Authority reports that inflation in the Philippines has slowed down for the third month in a row to 6.6% in April from 7.6% in March. The April print is slower than expected as analysts forecasted an inflation rate of 7%, while the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expected a rate of 6.7%. National statistician Dennis Mapa attributes this to slower increases of prices in vegetables, fish and meat, diesel and gasoline, as well as electricity and liquefied petroleum gas or LPG. Inflation averaged at 7.9% from January to April, the first 4 months of the year. Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno says that inflation slowing down for the third month implies a continued downtrend, indicating that the country is on track to manage inflation to within its target range of 2 to 4% by the fourth quarter of this year, if not sooner. This is Sofia Abrogar, reporting for INQUIRER.net.
President Bongbong Marcos says he does not feel alluded to in China's criticism of the new bilateral defense guidelines between the United States and the Philippines. The Philippines-U.S. bilateral defense guidelines outline how the U.S. will come to the Philippines' defense should it come under attack in the South China Sea. For Marcos, China's statement is directed more towards the U.S. than the Philippines.
As a Filipino and representing the Philippines, I don't feel alluded to. How can anyone say that we are not a party in interest in all of these issues? So I think that kind of statement was directed more towards the United States than it was for the Philippines.
Marcos also says the U.S. has not asked the Philippines to contribute to military operations should war break out between the U.S. and China over Taiwan. He assures the sites under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, will not be used for offensive military action. To quell China's fears, Marcos said he has personally assured Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang during a recent meeting.
The Foreign Minister of China just visited with me a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I told him and I assured him that no, these are not intended to be military bases to attack, to move against anyone, any country, not China, not any country.
President ends his official visit to the United States. Marcos says the Philippines has secured $1.3 billion worth of investment pledges, which are expected to create about 6,700 jobs in the Philippines.
These investments will support our country's economic recovery efforts and further strengthen the foundations of our economic environment.
The President will be attending the coronation of King Charles III in the United Kingdom. There, Marcos will meet with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on the sidelines to know if there are changes in the foreign policy of the European nation.
We will maintain the same relationship. It has been a relationship very advantageous to all parties involved. So I think that we will stay the course and continue to deal with each other in a very similar way that we have done before.
President Bongbong Marcos admits that there were abuses in the drug war launched by his predecessor, former President Rodrigo Duterte. In a forum hosted by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Marcos says Duterte's drug war on enforcement in which there were abuses made.
And in my view, what had happened in the previous administration is that we focused very much on enforcement. And because of that, it could be said that there were abuses by certain elements in the government, and that has caused some concern with many, in many quarters, about the human rights situation in the Philippines.
Marcos further admits that the drug problem in the Philippines lies in enforcement, where enforcers have enriched themselves at the cost of many lives. With this, he says he ordered the creation of a commission to assess ranking members of the Philippine National Police and asked for the resignation of police officers involved. Meanwhile, global watchdog Human Rights Watch says the next step is to file criminal cases and prosecute erring police officers, since Marcos is already aware that there were human rights abuses in the conduct of the drug war. HRW Deputy Asia Director Phil Robertson says this would prove the president's sincerity. The Philippine airspace shutdown scheduled on May 17 is now reduced to only 2 hours. Zakarian Sarao fills us in with the details live. Zach?
Yes, Neil, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, shortened its maintenance activity on May 17 to only 2 hours. It can be recalled that initially, CAAP said that the maintenance activity would stretch from 12 midnight to 6 a.m. on May 17, resulting in a 6 hours airspace closure. But the agency earlier cut this to just 2 hours, from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. after quote-unquote careful process, reviews, and simulations. Because of this, CAAP said it had already canceled its original notice to airmen, or NOTAP, to issue an updated version reflecting the new 2-hour schedule. CAAP then assured the public that it would implement contingency procedures through direct coordination with adjacent flight information regions to minimize disruptions to air traffic operations. With this, the duration of the May 17 maintenance will be the same as the recently conducted maintenance on May 3, which lasted for less than 2 hours. CAAP previously said that the corrective maintenance activity is being conducted at the Philippine Air Traffic Management Center to repair the automatic voltage regulator, replace the uninterruptible power supply, and upgrade the air traffic management system AB power supply. This, said CAAP, would allow the agency to serve the flying public better and ensure continued flight safety. Back to you, Neil.
Thanks, Zach. That's Zakarian Sarao reporting live. Next on Inquirer today. Experts foresee Metro Manila's COVID-19 positivity rate to rise to 25% according to Octa research. 146 Filipinos in Sudan did not manifest their wish to be repatriated according to Department of Migrant Workers. And Golden State Warriors even series with a victory over Los Angeles Lakers. This is Inquirer today. We'll be back shortly.
A Filipino deaf content creator has found her space on TikTok. Together with her mom, Erlene Grace creates content to teach sign language.
Hello, I'm Erlene Dominique. Deaf daughter ko siya, si Erlene Grace. Hi! My name is Erlene Grace. Si Erlene, mga 8 months siya. Parang napansin namin walang response sa mga pag may tumutunog, minsan nagtotro kami ng mga bagay sa likod, tapos wala, hindi siya lumilingon. So, we decided na patingin na lang sa doctor yung kanyang condition. Tapos, yun nga, ang result ng puro no response. Nung malaman ko na hindi nga siya nakakarinig, naghanap kami ng school. So, naipasok namin siya nung 5 years old siya. So, doon na siya natuto. And then kami, kasi medyo malayo yung bahay namin. Nag-stay ako doon, inaantay ko siya hanggang sa umuwi siya. Ngayon, yung mga parents, kung nag-grupo rin kami na, nag-aaral din kami mismo, sumasabay kami sa mga bata para matuto.
As an avid TikTok user herself, Erlene started creating her own content.
So, dati daw, nag-start siya ng mga tingin-tingin na mga video. Tapos naisipan niya, paano daw sa deaf. So, nag-try siya. Now, Marami yung nagtitik na curious, paano daw yun. Tapos, simula nang dumadami yung nagtatanong sa kanya, how ka nakakapag-TikTok? Paano mo nalalagyan ng music yung TikTok mo? Parang lalo siyang na-engganyo, parang na maggawa ng mga video. Hanggang sa, ayun, dumami na yung mga niya, nanonood sa kanya. Lagi-lagi niya ako sinasama. Ay, sabi niya, oy, halika, sama tayo ng dalawa. Turuan ko siya, tapos, nakikita naman niya, may natutuwa, lagi niya ako isinasama ngayon sa akin. Gusto niya turuan ako magsayaw naman.
Using TikTok as a platform, Erlene started teaching sign language with hopes of bridging the gap between the deaf and hearing. She also uses her TikTok space to push for her advocacy as a part of the deaf community.
Gusto niya kasi ngayon, yung FSL ang gamitin dito sa Philippines. Kasi normally sa school kasi, ASL, word for word kasi yun. Kasi yung Filipino sign language, parang mga shortcut ba? Parang ipinupush nila yun ng mga para yun ang gamitin. So yung advocacy niya para maintindihan din ng mga hearing, para madaling makipag-communicate sa kanila. Hope daw, yung hearing, ma-understand yung mga deaf. Yung deaf culture, gusto niya maintindihan nila. Level lang, magkaano lang sila, magkapantay lang. Ako sa akin, kasi hindi naman sila, actually normal lang sila, wala lang silang naririnig. Saka yung sign language nila talagang, yun talaga ang normal. Ako, ang pinaka-dream ko talaga, yung sign language, ma-incorporate sa curriculum. Kahit start pa lang simula kinder. Yun talaga pinagaan ang gusto namin mangyari.
Independent Pandemic Monitor Octa research says Metro Manila's COVID-19 positivity rate is expected to reach 25%. To tell us more, here's Jean Mangaluz reporting live. Jean.
Neil, the COVID-19 positivity rate in the National Capital Region is expected to reach 25%, according to Octa research fellow Guido David. This would be 5 times the World Health Organization's threshold for COVID-19 positivity rates. Octa is expecting the positivity rate to increase around Metro Manila, including Cavite, Rizal, and Laguna. The rise of cases prompted President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to mull reinstating face mask mandates, but David said this was unnecessary. He explained that the rise and drop in cases should already be anticipated, as with diseases like dengue. The Department of Health also said that the increase of cases is expected with the change of testing protocols, focusing more on symptomatic individuals. With the increase in cases, David assured that this would not reach the levels of the Delta variant wave in 2021. The Philippine College of Physicians called this wave severe, with the COVID-19 positivity rate reaching 30%. David noted that the healthcare utilization rates are still low and are not expected to reach critical levels, adding that the positivity rate is only one way to indicate the status of cases. The DOH also said that it is focusing more on healthcare utilization rates. That's it from me, Neil. Back to you.
Thanks, Jean. That's Jean Mangaluz reporting live.